All right.
I will delete you.
So that's a thing that happened.
I think if they took just the beginning part, like before it sped up and just kept it classical all the way, and lose some of the sound effects, it's not needed. I mean, fucking WWE has to put their spin on it, and
just the way. Fuck.
I mean, listen, it's at least he's not coming out to the Hardy Boy music because that.
But then he still has the Hardy Boys logo and
he has all the Hardy Boys stuff there.
They'll change it though.
I'm sure they will.
Mm-hmm.
But you'd think they do it all at the same time.
Right.
That would make sense.
So yes, this is the War Report brought to you by TagMeAtDate.com, the first and only dating site exclusively for wrestling fans. Find your tag team partner at TagMeAtDate.com. Once again, OkCupid stinks, and because I was reading something. I didn't go through the whole deal because I don't. Not that I don't have the time. I don't have the desire. To read a whole article from OkCupid about why they do what they do. But they were trying to justify their new thing of you can only message people that you match with, like on Tinder, to mitigating like harassment of its. So basically what they're saying is all the men on the site are scum and just send, can I show you my dick messages to every, so it's every guy sending multiple messages to a bunch of girls.
Because every girl's page
wants to see Eric's dick.
All they're talking about is stop harassing me. I don't want a one night stand. I want a relationship.
Well, yes, I understand that, but you can prior to this, you could talk to somebody who you weren't matched with, like to like, but you had like a similar percentage and similar interests. Like you could still talk to them and try and communicate, but so now that's shut off. It's one-sided now, and there's also like they lock away a bunch of features under their A list, which is again $14.99 a month. That's ridiculous. What are you doing?
That's crazy.
Do you spend for who? If you spend $14.99 on OkCupid, I want to know. Send an email to askthewarreport@gmail.com and explain yourself. Whether it was a one time. Yeah, sorry. Well, that sounded accusatory, but really it is.
Explain yourself.
Did you sign up once for ha-has to see? Because I've got like some likes.
What's the matter with you?
It's one of those things where like there's a bunch of likes, but you can only see who likes you if you pay extra. So maybe you do that once to see who likes you, or are you signing up like monthly? Is it recurring and they're just knocking it off your American Express every month? Like what's going on? I need to know. If you're somebody that does that, I have so many questions. Email askthewarreport@gmail.com.
I'm too Jewish
to be our special guest.
Yeah, you will be. And then we'll tell you about Tag Me a Date and how it's free.
Free.
Exactly.
We'll tell you
only
now.
On Rusev Day, though. It's free only on Rusev Day.
Yes, it's the Rusev Day special.
Promotion.
We really should say that somewhere because it's going to get somebody.
Yeah, and we should, and we should have like a thing. Use promo code Rusev Day.
Promo code Rusev Day. Call India. What time is it there?
Don't even get me started with those people.
Meet your perfect Machka on Cat.
Yes, Machka. That should replace anything that says "Give me a date." It should say Machka.
Yeah.
With emphasis. The next revision of the app, whenever there's a match, you have a little animation of Rusev smashing and going Machka. It's like an extra incentive to match somebody, because otherwise the other way it's like Rusev's sad, and you don't want to see Rusev sad.
Every time there's a match, you've made a Machka.
Machka. Have you seen the mixed Machka challenge videos that they've been putting up of Rusev and Lana, like training and all that?
where he's just sitting in the corner eating while she's running and taking bumps, and then you did
Aiden English walks over. Aiden English walks over and hands Rusev a bottle of water. Goes, "You've earned this."
Lana is the best. Lana's number one.
Makes it all worth it. They have, not only do they have Rusev Day, they have a song to go with it, and then they've got Lana. So I mean, so
and then they were singing it with Daniel Bryan on SmackDown. It was just
they were singing it with they sang it with, who was it? Was it Rome, Mike Rome, or was it Tom? They did another backstage one, and they.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, I mean, there've been I think 3 videos for them, and then most recently, they had a really good video with Sammy announcing that Becky Lynch is his partner for the Mixed Match Challenge.
Oh, that's an actual thing? I thought that was someone's like fan thing, and I was like, oh, that's wicked.
Yeah, so the video is really cool. I won't pull up the video because it'll just take time. But if you look for it on the social media, what it is, outside of one of the recent WWE events, they had a WWE camera filming Becky signing autographs for people that were outside. So like they were waiting where the superstars all pull in with their rental cars or whatever, and there was a barricade with fans. So she was signing stuff and taking pictures. And fucking Sammy is wearing the worst gray wig, black Taliban beard, and yellow sunglasses, and he has his hood pulled up like the goddamn Unabomber. And he's got the program, but because he's dressed like such a weirdo, Becky legitimately doesn't realize it's him until he takes the gimmick off. But he's got like the program. He's like, you see, that's you. And he's like putting on a voice and the whole thing. And she's like, oh, do you want me to sign it? And he's like, no, I don't want you to sign it. What I want is, and he pulls the shit off and he goes, I want a partner for the Mixed Match Challenge. And she's like, oh my God. And then all the fans nearby are cheering.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it was a good moment. But then something interesting happened. She goes, it'll be, we can bring the old Sammy back. And he's like, sure, but we can bring out a new side of Becky, new Becky. And they're both kind of like enthusiastic about their own thing. Like, but it's sarcastic Sammy, and he gets the crowd to like cheer for her. And it's so good. It's much better than just Goober Sammy.
Yeah.
Where he would just walk in and be like, okay, here's a plan. And then everybody just looked at him like he was a turd.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not as into that. This is a wonderful, wonderful transition for him. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays in the Mixed Match Challenge.
Does anyone know how this Mixed Match Challenge works?
Nobody knows. It was, the last I heard, everybody was supposed to be fan voted in. I keep hitting my damn.
Yeah, they are fan voted in, but how do they go on?
Well,
like,
you gotta win the Mitch.
What do they win?
Machka. Well, they win. Supposedly, they win $100,000 for the charity of their choice, which just so coincidentally will be Connor's cure. Oh boy, who saw that one coming?
Well, no, if Sammy wins, then he's for sure.
Right, Sammy for Syria, or Syria for Sammy, or whatever it is. It's a food truck, right? He drives around making falafel for people. Is that?
No.
Oh no!
Shit,
right. Health.
Jesus. Well, now Sammy Zayn's never coming on the show.
Why, you think he doesn't like falafel?
Of course, he loves falafel. Who doesn't love falafel?
See, now you're making assumptions about him. I was just saying maybe, if he raises enough money, in addition to, he could have like Generico falafels, like paint up the truck, and then all the workers have El Generico masks. You can hand out the falafels.
Not a bad idea.
Speaking of fast food, before we get into wrestling, Eric, how many White Castle burgers did you eat?
It was like 5. No, it was like 4 regulars, 1 black bean, which, by the way, black bean is not good. Onion rings and fries.
Was it, the black bean replaced the beef?
No, it was like, I saw it on the menu. I'm like, all right, I'll try one of those.
So it's burger with black bean on it?
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite.
Yeah, it doesn't really. But other than that, I
thought it was for black bean.
Yeah, and the patties are thin anyway.
Yeah. I haven't had that in years. Just
White Castle is not. I don't want to say it's healthy for you because it's probably not.
no. Half of my calorie intake
not
in one
good
shot.
for you.
It's one of those interesting America-only places because you
But
don't.
they're like really tiny, right?
Right, and then you can
Very
buy
tiny sliders, yeah.
They're little sliders, and they saute them on top of the onions. So the onions and the onions basically steam the burgers, and they have 5 little holes in them to help steam the burgers. And then they put some of the grilled onions and the burger and your pickle and your cheese or whatever you put on it on a little bun. But you can order them by like 36 at a time.
Yeah, like they're called suitcases.
Yeah, and you
can put them
literally
in the back of your throat like aspirin.
yeah, they're literally just.
What is this weird burgers you guys eat?
It's literally called a crave case.
Yeah.
Let me see. I'm gonna find.
There's nothing like going to a drive-thru and being like, "Yes, I'd like to have 35 cheeseburgers."
I want like a suitcase of burgers. That's like legit the most American thing you could ever say.
There's a place in Jersey. There's a place in Jersey called the White Manna where it's kind of like that, but it's not really fast food. You go in and you watch them. They make it for you. It's pretty awesome.
Wow. So yeah, this is the 30 crave case. That's a 30 pack, and it looks like a little suitcase.
Oh my god.
It looks like the money in the bank.
Yeah. And then that one, if you notice over here on the side, does in fact say 100 tasty burgers.
God damn.
Are they actually tasty?
They are.
They are, but they're called belly bombers for a reason.
Yeah.
They go through you as quickly as you can get them down.
Not quite that quick. They're just, I mean, they're greasy, and you know what happens when you eat a lot of grease.
Are they in every state?
No.
Well, no. I mean, that's why I had it, because they're not in North Carolina, so I had to have them in New York.
I have one 15 minutes from my house. It's 24 hours.
The reason that movie was made,
Harold and Kumar.
All of those movies were made for the same reason, because there are people who have the luxury of living 15 minutes from White Castle, and there are people like me who would literally have to make a 3-hour drive to White Castle and do it, and have done it before. I mean, the last time I had White Castle was probably I had to go to New York for a Ring of Honor show. And while I was in town, I was like, well, hell, I never get White Castle. Let's get some White Castle. I think I also got either Gray's or Papaya King, and we were talking about them earlier today, too. Those are fast food hot dogs. And again, they're very cheap, and you can just buy a bunch of them, and you just have a handful of hot dogs and your little papaya drink.
See, Canada doesn't have these like fun things.
But you've got Tim Hortons.
So do you, like a lot of states now.
Yeah, I know, but still, like you've got Tim Hortons, you've got poutine.
Closest Tim Hortons to me, I think, is Delaware.
Yeah, there used to be a couple in Connecticut. They're not there anymore. Of course, we've got the Dunkin' Donuts empire.
Canada's got great strip clubs, I heard.
Yes, they're all nude. Unlike you guys with your bikinis. Like, why wouldn't every woman be a stripper? If I could just go in a bikini.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, listen, if you did want to come to the United States and become a citizen, you would be within the top 5% of strippers if you really wanted to go that route, because you're right. Once you get to cover things up, and it's dark in those clubs, let's be fair. It's like black lights and then, music to overstimulate you and take your mind off it. But really, there's some nasty strippers out. There's some beautiful. Let's be honest. Let's be fair here.
No, but Toronto does have some very pretty strippers.
I feel like if you want to start a blog, that might be the way to go, Amanda.
Just blogging of where you guys can find the hottest strippers in Toronto. And
right, and people believe you because you're a woman. Mm-hmm. They're not going to believe a guy, because honestly, that's why ugly strippers do well and still have careers, because a guy that's horned up doesn't really give a shit. So you would be the discerning opinion. You would be
what can I call this blog?
The Phantom Horme. No, wait.
I want a beer and I want to see something naked.
The American dream is alive in Canada, Eric. You can go.
Oh, I'll call it the Canadian dream.
The Canadian dream. Beavers and beer. Wait.
Canadian Dream versus the Velveteen Dream.
I will never have a Canadian. Sammy's not coming on. Kevin's not coming. None of the Canadians. Kenny Omega's not coming on.
I have ruined it.
I know. Apparently, we've ruined Canada.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Exactly. So we've got a lot of wrestling happen. We should probably talk about that because we're a wrestling podcast. But did anybody else? I think I'm the only individual that was sick enough to stay up until 3 a.m. and watch Wrestle Kingdom. But did anybody else get a chance to watch some of the matches from what was a very, very good
Jericho Omega.
Yeah.
Jericho Omega was great.
And I only saw clips of Jericho Omega, but from what the clips I saw, I mean, they're saying that that's going to hands down be match of the year.
It very well could be because of the spectacle around it. Now, technically speaking, the better wrestling match between the ropes was probably the main event with Naito against Okada. The finish kind of ruined it for me because Naito's been chasing this belt for a while. There's a backstory of Naito won the IWGP or the Grand Prix, the G1, to main event at the Tokyo Dome like 4 or 5 years ago. And by fan vote, they moved him down to the co-main event and they put the Intercontinental Championship on last. And he unsuccessfully challenged for the world title in the co-main event. So this was like his redemption story of he finally gets to main event the Tokyo Dome. This was the time to, pull the trigger on him. People are hot for him. Rainmaker. Who's their guy? Rainmaker Okada is the top guy in New Japan. And there's a reason for it. He's fucking fantastic. But I think the story is going to be that somehow it's going to be them guys again next year, and next year might be the year that they give it to Naito, but I don't know if they're going to have – they're trying to reach Western fans in the U.S. market, and it's just the storytelling is slow in Japan, and it works in Japan, and they've been used to it for 40 years, but this is going to almost maybe move too slow for American audiences, the difference between – Asian and American cinema and all that. I don't know.
Isn't there a thing now between Jericho and Naito?
Yes, and that's going to be interesting because that'll stretch out until May. I want to say there's probably like a big event because they don't do them monthly. Excuse me, like WWE does. They do more like big events every 4 months, every quarter, leading back up to Wrestle Kingdom in January. So. It'll be interesting to see where that goes because you've got all this stuff with Jericho coming up is very interesting. The Ring of Honor thing, or the New Japan thing rather, and the cruise, which includes Ring of Honor, coming on board. So is Jericho hinting at something? Because New Japan and Ring of Honor have a working agreement. Are they hinting that, especially with the cruise coming up in October, that he's going to cross over not just from New Japan into Ring of Honor, maybe work a little bit of this Ring of Honor stuff and the indie stuff like Cody's done and some other guys have done, and then go back to WWE? Or where do we think what do we think the trajectory of Jericho is right now?
I don't really know how to answer that question, but what I will say is I have this strong feeling that you're going to see Omega as a surprise in the Rumble this year.
Oh my God. People would poop their pants, me included.
Right. Yeah. I think that this has all been worked. The Jericho going to Japan, I think I have a feeling.
Vince,
think this is
he asked Vince's not necessarily permission, but blessing, and Vince was cool with it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But when you're Vince,
he's got 3 or 4 different layers working beyond that.
When Vince sees dollar signs,
and I think
it's all about the money.
And if these guys are really going to stay in Japan, it would be nice. It even seems like the New Japan president has talked about it in the past couple of days. They'd like to bounce talent back and forth. And hey, maybe you're going to let this guy go, have him come here work for us for a little while. We'll send them back or whatever. It doesn't sound like a WCW thing where New Japan wants to put Vince out of business because first of all, they're not going to be able to. So why even try? But it's nice that they're not of that attitude. Their attitude is we want to work together because, it makes wrestling better to work together. It makes it bigger and it makes it more unified as a whole. And I know that's a pretty lofty ideal to get WWE working with essentially their competition. But if there was a benefit to it, and if there's a way to make money out of it, Vince McMahon is going to find that way.
Right. Mm-hmm. And if we're talking surprises in the Rumble, I have another feeling.
Yeah. And
I have a feeling we're going to see James Storm in the Rumble. Ooh. And I think he's going to come out at the same time that glorious Bobby Roode is standing in that ring. And they're going to tease a little, because they won't have to say anything. They can just stare each other down and the crowd will go nuts and do it themselves.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The crowd will.
If he knocks him out because he's sorry about your damn luck.
Right. Because you have to remember, too, I was thinking about this, and I had said that if they do it right, I think the women's Rumble is going to be more entertaining than the men's. But I think they also know that. And I think that they know that they're going to have to pull out as many stops in the men's so that the women doesn't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think we're in for some really good Rumbles.
Who do we think was on the phone with Kurt Angle?
I was just going to ask that.
Beth Phoenix was the first one that came to mind.
Trish Stratus was mine.
Lita, maybe?
Oh, yeah, Lita too.
Hey, listen, at the end of the day, I think all of them
they're all great choices, yeah.
I think there's a chance we could see Medusa.
Yeah,
I think there's a chance. So I think there's a chance we're going to see Ivory because she's rumored to go in the Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They're going to have as many representations of different eras, I think, as they can because it shows, the whole paving the way. And
Awesome Kong needs to make her return. Then let's just put that out in the universe.
And we're going to see both Bellas in there.
We're going to see both. It would be great if they, instead of doing two Bellas, they did the Twin Magic deal. So it's only one entry.
You can't tell them apart with those tits.
You know how Kofi Kingston has always that like crazy Rumble experience?
Yes.
Do you think a woman's going to do something like that?
Yeah.
If so, who?
It would be Charlotte if she was in the match, but she's not.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's so athletic.
No, I think Naomi.
Naomi was going to be my next choice, but if Charlotte was in the match, I'd peg her. Naomi's a good choice.
And back in the day, Lita would have been able to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Or if they bring up from NXT, what's her name? Carrie San.
Yeah. I'm sure she's gonna come up. Kyrie's gonna come up.
Yeah. Kyrie.
And then Alexa was a gymnast. She could do some shit.
Yeah.
Dana Brooke could probably pull some stuff. I mean, she's a little top heavy, but hurts the rotation if she's doing a flip. Hey, she's so much better now doing the Terry Runnels deal.
She totally does not belong in that picture. I'm just saying.
According to Brazzers, she does. Titus Apollo, Dana in the middle. And Dana Brooks never coming on the show. We can make a list of who we've offended. It's the new list of Jericho, the list of people.
The list of the War Report.
Oh no.
We've blacklisted ourselves.
We just made the list.
Yeah, right? We made our own list.
We made our own list.
Oh boy. So what should we talk about? Raw?
Can I just say, if we're talking about Raw, the crowd sucked. It really did. They gave Matt Hardy no love, in my opinion, and I didn't think Baylor Club got as much of as much as they should have.
Where were they yesterday?
I don't know, but they shouldn't go back there.
They shouldn't go back.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else not like? Do you guys agree? I felt the crowd.
Now that you like mentioned it, I'm
yeah, because I kind of tune out the crowd anyway, but now that you mention it, with that when I rewatched that Matt Hardy entrance, I'm like, these people could be a little louder. And the Balor Club thing, like, and I know they didn't really do a great the Balor Club are getting together thing. They just kind of played the music and they came out. But come on, this is what we've been waiting for this for 2 years. It's finally happened.
They also should all come out together.
Yeah,
and get different music.
That's some BS that they have Gallows and Anderson make an entrance and then Finn gets his big. They could have, even if they used Balor's music, they could have a group entrance like the NWO used to do, and they all come out together, or like the Young Bucks and the rest of the Bullet Club do.
Well, in Japan, when Balor was the leader, he would come out on somebody's shoulders when they walked out.
Yes, he would. Was that one of the big Tongan guys? Yeah, he would come on his shoulders.
Get Dijak to join.
Dijak would be a wonderful addition to any main roster group, I think. And
agreed.
I heard from, and it's just Dave Meltzer on Twitter, but you tend to take his word over a few other people, but Ricochet and both members of War Machine, he says, consider it done when asked about if they're signed with WWE or NXT. So consider it done. You've got 3 new roster members coming shortly.
That's awesome.
And for Warbeard, he had a action figure made that just came out, his first ever action figure for Ring of Honor. He got to wrestle at the Tokyo Dome just last week, and then he's going to go to WWE. That he's hit a lot of people's bucket list stuff. There are people who would be content with just having an action figure made of themselves, or just getting to wrestle at the Tokyo Dome during Wrestle Kingdom, or just getting an opportunity at NXT. And he's achieved all of them, and I'm very happy for him and for all those guys, because they all worked their asses off to get there.
We all knew it was just a matter of time when it came to Warbeard and all them.
Yeah.
We could see War Machine versus Red Dragon again.
You could see War Machine versus Sanity, War Machine versus Heavy Machinery, War Machine versus the Authors of Pain, War Machine against the Revival, against the New Day, against the Bar. These are all going to be 5-star. I mean, they have the potential to be 5-star matches.
Match against the Usos would be awesome too.
Usos. Oh, yeah. Oh, the Usos. Because the Usos are a little thick, THICC now, as the kids say. So they could definitely have a hell of a hard-hitting match with the Usos in the penitentiary. So aside from the crowd sucking, Jason Jordan,
I love it.
Oh my God,
I love to hate him.
They figured out
he's doing his job real well.
Yep.
They figured out what he could do. Like, there was a role for him, and I'm glad they've found it.
He needs a little cowboy hat.
I want to be like you, Dad.
Jimmy Crackle, I don't care.
I was really hoping he would come out in like the Shield vest, but still his like little shorts, and then like Seth him and be like, "Nah, get out." And then he like takes it off embarrassingly, and then walks down.
Oh,
the facial expressions between Rollins and Reigns looking at each other.
Hey, I got one. How about Braun Strowman?
Ah,
he's
a grappling hook. He's Batman.
Awesome.
They really.
Like, why do they have a grappling hook? Because WWE.
Who cares? He looked for it and he found it. That's all we need to know. Why they have it in the arena.
And I love how Brock Lesnar gets like Freakman, he gets a stretcher, and Kane, they're like, yeah, you fend for yourself. You got this.
That's true. They never
He's a public official.
Yeah.
That man's going to be the governor or the mayor or whatever.
Yeah, so.
That's so funny.
And I love Paul Heyman's acting too. Paul Heyman's like, no.
I didn't see him coming.
Heyman's wonderful with that type of stuff.
He's so good.
But
I'll tell you, I really think Brock holds the title at Rumble. I don't think he's losing.
Yeah. No, he's not.
Kane's probably going to be the one to get pinned, though.
Yeah, I mean that's the assumption is Kane's.
But then again, we all thought that for Ziggler too, and look what happened.
Yeah, that's true.
But would they really, right on the start of the build to WrestleMania, you're going to give it to Kane?
No, they're not.
Could you imagine WrestleCania?
Oh God!
What they would call they would have to come up with some name, and then Michael Cole would beat it into the fucking ground on commentary.
Yes,
yeah.
But going back to Heyman's acting, my favorite bit of acting from Heyman was The Undertaker, Brock Lesnar, and the Hell in a Cell. And at one point in the match, The Undertaker has got an advantage, and he just goes, "Brock, we're losing." Like, who says it like that? We're losing. like it's a basketball game, and you're down by points. Come on.
Oh, Heyman is the best.
He really is.
Him and there's a rarefied few. Him and Heenan and
Heenan.
Jimmy Hart and the Grand Wizard and Freddie Blassie is just, you got a handful of really good managers that got people over. And Sherry, Sherry, once again, women like Sherry and Elizabeth should be around to celebrate what the women's division has become. And it's just a shame that they're both not.
Mm-hmm.
It's somebody like Elizabeth, if she didn't pass away and have the problems that she had, would be such a good ambassador for the women's division. Her or Sherry could have made a great general manager of the women, or just some sort of representative of the women. Maybe they could bring in Medusa. I would like to see that, actually. If they had somebody managing the women, even if there was one on both sides. So it's like, how much attention does Daniel Bryan or Shane pay to the women's division? You know what I mean? Let's get somebody in there who actually wants to make the matches happen. So maybe like on one brand it's Medusa, and on one brand it's Lita or Ivory or Trish, and they don't have to work every date, but they can make proclamations and stuff like Jack Tunney used to do.
Jack Tunney.
Good old Jack. I had to throw a Jack Tunney reference in there.
Yeah, I mean, he was this like stoic individual. Like, you knew shit was about to go down when Jack Tunney said something.
Lord Alfred Hayes.
Lord Alfred Hayes. Sean Mooney. Love Sean Mooney.
They brought back Sean Mooney for that Edge and Christian awesome show or whatever it was called, and he was great in his role. And I've heard they said in the podcast, that Edge and Christian show, that the Edge and Christian WWE Network show is not necessarily canceled, and they'd like to do another season, so maybe it'll happen. That would be nice. That was my favorite show on the network. Easily my favorite show on the network, original programming wise.
It took me like 3 episodes to get into it, though. It didn't initially like get me.
I will say this in terms of the network. If you haven't seen it, the new one, the 365. So it's 365 days with a superstar. In this case, the only one up there right now is Kevin Owens, from SummerSlam to SummerSlam.
It's a fantastic.
And it is awesome. It's an hour, but it's behind the scenes. It's conversations with Vince. Was that the downs? It was awesome.
Where he was backstage with Vince, his WrestleMania, because I think I saw that. I think I watched it. It was the one like
Vince, are we good? And Vince,
and he said no.
Yeah.
Oh, what do you do when that guy says no?
And then he just looks away from you and like doesn't acknowledge you, and you're like, all right, well, what do I do now? And that's when they moved him to SmackDown, and he reinvented himself doing the whole political thing.
And that WrestleMania match was good.
Yeah, I don't know what Vince was about.
It wasn't what he was looking for.
Like, they never really explained why Vince was upset about that match. Like, it didn't come across the way they wanted it to. But he didn't really explain why.
Yeah. It was just I enjoyed. I mean that WrestleMania was very, very enjoyable. In terms of all of the matches, because I've been to a couple WrestleManias now, that one's up there in terms of every match being, or most of the matches being a really good match. Because even like 30, there was so much shit that happened at 30 that nobody gave a shit about. And at 29 was great too, but they missed a lot of stuff. Like they didn't put Jack Swagger. He came down to the ring in a tank, and they didn't show it on pay-per-view.
Right.
It's like, why? Just it was weird. So I think that the most recent WrestleMania was one of the better ones. I mean I hate to say that with a show that was main evented by Roman Reigns beating the Undertaker, like he owed him money, but it was a good show. It was just, man,
I'm gonna need you to leave your boots in the ring.
Seriously, it was like he was gonna take the wrestling boots, tie them on a string, and fucking throw them over a utility pole, like the wires in the street or something. That was a gang beating. He hit him with the super spear, which
thought he was going to pour one out for him or something.
Somehow, tell me how this makes sense. If you hit the ropes more times, you charge up the spear so it's more powerful. And then he hits him with the spear. That's some Looney Tunes physics. You just infinitely bounce off the ropes and keep building speed. Oh, that was way too loud.
You know what? We have the Raw 25th anniversary. That's coming up.
Ooh, yes.
Ooh, and Stone Cold is there. Oh.
Yeah, how'd they pull that off? They got everybody coming back. DX, you got Scott Hall and Nash, and I'm actually surprised because after the latest Scott Hall incident. But,
what's the latest Scott Hall incident?
It was at that tribute to Iron Sheik, and he came in drunk.
Oh, that was like
a long time ago.
That was 10 years ago.
That was 10 years ago?
That video was probably 10 years ago, maybe 8.
Oh, thank God, because I thought he relapsed.
No, that was old.
I didn't
he
realize
did get into an argument recently with King Kong Bundy, I think.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I heard something about that too.
That's not the guy you want to argue with either. They're both giants.
Yeah.
Scott Hall was underrated in terms of work and size and all that when he was constantly around Kevin Nash, who was the largest guy at the time, sized up next to everybody else. Razor Ramon / Scott Hall was a fucking monster. He was tall. He just was the lats and the upper body was like huge. So you never really you never got a sense of scale because he was always standing next to a guy that made him look smaller than he was. But he was Scott Hall, one of my perennial favorites.
It's amazing too because in WWE I think he was way more over than Nash was as Diesel. Like Razor Ramon was way more over.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like he made the Intercontinental title, but I would have loved to have seen him as the world champion.
Oh yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but Kevin Nash explained that in an interview, a shoot interview one time. He said when this whole steroid thing was going down, everybody was kind of looking smaller or softer, not as defined. And when Kevin Nash walked through the airport, you knew like you can't give somebody steroids to make them taller. So he was the guy that you put it on because he was tall and in shape naturally, and there was no steroid this or that surrounding him, so he could be like that guy that carried the title. But I agree. I totally agree about Scott Hall because he's one of those guys like Roddy Piper who was always kind of a perennial Intercontinental champion, mid-card champion, never the world champion. And
then,
Kurt Hennig too.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, could have happened.
In the modern era, there are guys like Owen. If Owen was working SmackDown around the time when Eddie was champ, Owen would have a world title, and they would have had a hell of a match. You've got Roddy Piper in any other era as a world champion, Kurt Hennig in any other era. And I know he won the AWA world title, but I mean, kind of counts. But and Scott Hall. Scott Hall, you drop Razor Ramon into right now. He's a main eventer. 9 out of 10 times, 10 out of 10 times, whatever. He's a main eventer. So it's just different times and called for different things. And we do kind of see the world title. I was reading this online. We see the world title as kind of a thank you now. Like, you deserve to win a title, so we want to see this person win a title.
Gender.
Right, kind of knowing. It's like now everybody knows it's a work, so you want your favorite wrestler to win the world title as validation of their hard work, when the booking should dictate that the most over guy or the guy that you're building the story around is the one that you're giving the title to, not just somebody who's kind of been there for 10 or 12 years and earned it. But yeah, with Jinder as being a very good example, he is one of those guys who's like that was a thank you for your service kind of moment.
Well, I mean, in a way, look, JBL was kind of like that too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Triple H did
that kind of came out of nowhere. Like they did this split with APA, and then he's this new character, but they all of a sudden put him in the world title on him.
No, I stopped. I don't know when it was. Sometime in like early high school, I kind of tuned out of watching wrestling altogether. It was after WCW went out of business. I was just less interested. Imagine my shock when I'm starting to get back into wrestling, and they say Bradshaw is the WWE champion. I said, Bradshaw? You mean black hair, beard, funny bullshit painted on his titties? That Bradshaw is the world? Yeah. And he's been world champion for how long now? The longest reign in SmackDown history? Are we serious?
Triple H didn't want to work Tuesdays.
Oh my God. And I really got back into wrestling at the wrong time because I didn't like JBL and I really didn't like John Cena that much either. Luckily, there was a gentleman that came along called Edge who saved the whole thing for me.
Was there any word of Edge and Christian being at Raw?
No.
No. They've got Jerry and JR coming back. I don't think they're going to do the whole night, but I'm sure they'll do at least a match or two.
They should do the whole night.
We should do the whole night.
I want
especially
Ventura.
at like the one venue, the smaller venue.
Oh yeah, that's right, because they're doing the Manhattan Center and Barclays, so they could have them at the Manhattan Center kind of.
Is Finkel going to be there to announce?
You should be.
Watch out for that choke slam. Did you ever hear that story from Gallows?
No.
Oh my God! I'm gonna find this clip. We'll play it one day, or I'll send it through the messenger. But it was Fink was calling Gallows to let him know he was gonna be working. Like they wanted to hire him back and work a program with Kane and all that stuff, or some shit like that. And right at the end of the call, he goes, "Watch out for that choke slam," and hangs up the phone. He didn't say goodbye. He just said, "Watch out for that choke slam."
No one used the word "new" better than Fink. When there was a new champion.
Oh no, he's fantastic.
It brings chills down your spine.
He is the best. Him
and the nicest guy too.
Yeah,
Finkel's number one. Finkel is best.
The two buffers are good. Michael Buffer, I mean, he's fallen off since the Let's Get Ready to Rumble days, but his brother is really good. Bruce Buffer for the UFC. We could talk. I mean, I could go through every ring announcer.
The Buffer Zone.
Yeah,
that would be their name.
The Buffer Zone.
So here's another question. Going back to SmackDown for a minute.
Yes.
Everything is pointing to a Daniel Bryan heel turn. Can somebody explain to me why they're doing this or why it makes sense?
Nothing makes sense anymore.
Yeah, that's a fair answer.
They're obviously using the 2-on-1 handicap match against AJ to drive a wedge between Sammy and Kevin, which will eventually lead to those two having a WrestleMania match.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much.
I think that needs to be a year from now, though.
Oh yeah, they have that kind of patience.
Because I want to see them with the tag title run.
I love them together. They're hilarious.
Yes. Better together than separate at this point, I think. Even though I think Kevin Owens could do just about anything on his own and be great, but with Sammy, it makes the act.
Yes.
But
Sammy's like his hype man.
He's like a little ginger Flavor Flav.
Yeah.
Falafel
Ginger
flavor.
Falafel
Ginger ginge. But the interesting thing about Daniel Bryan, and I don't know what his status is in terms of being cleared by the WWE doctors, Joseph Maroon, etc. But he said that in some interview that if he doesn't wrestle by April, then you'll know he's not wrestling in the WWE ever. So basically hinting, if I don't have a WrestleMania match, I'm not wrestling with WWE again. So we're that doesn't solve anything. It doesn't give us any answers because that could mean that they have something in the works, and that's why he even said it.
Well, the truth of the matter is, I think if he has been cleared by WWE or is going to be cleared, we will be the last to know.
Oh yeah,
that will be something that will be so tight-lipped so that they have the shock value of holy shit, Brian's actually getting back in the ring.
Right. They couldn't. That's like when somebody ruined the Royal Rumble by posting. It was an arena that was having a show after the Royal Rumble, and they're like, Batista's gonna be there. And everybody's like, oh god damn it, Batista's gonna be in the Rumble. So it kind of fucked up the Rumble for that year. So if they're gonna bring him back, it should just be a surprise like that. But they're leaving some breadcrumbs. I don't know what they're going to lead to, because if he can't wrestle, what do you do at WrestleMania with his? So where does his story go? Does he stand in somebody's corner? I mean, that doesn't seem like the thing he would do. He wouldn't rah stand in the corner and cheer somebody like the four. I mean, a McMahon in every corner, WrestleMania 2000, with just McMahon standing there doing nothing until they're called to do something. Yeah, it doesn't seem like he would do that.
But do we want to see Bryan versus Shane though? I mean,
I don't think it would be bad.
No, yeah, it would be fine, but I don't know.
I'm okay with that.
I would be okay with Daniel Bryan finding something else he's very passionate about. Won't put him in a fucking wheelchair by the time he's 50.
So that's the thing. We're concerned about his health. Like he shouldn't do it because we don't want him to end like Dynamite Kid or worse.
Or I say this: he's a grown ass fucking man. He wants to do it. That's on him.
Yeah.
At that point, it's up to the doctors then, because they know he's up for it. Yeah, I mean, he wants to compete. It's obvious he wants to compete. So, if there are other wrestling companies that will give him that luxury, maybe he explores those options.
I mean, I also feel like if WWE clears him, his doctors have cleared him, and Brie Bella really feels that he's okay. Because if Brie Bella really thinks that there's something seriously that is going or can happen, she's not going to let him do it.
Yeah.
Especially with the kid now and everything else. Like, she's going to do everything she can to put a stop to it if it's something she feels, shouldn't happen.
Yeah, she would definitely step in and say something. I mean, it sounds like she's supportive of him to whatever point publicly. It hasn't gotten to the point where they really need to make a decision or a call in this, one way or another. I think she'll say, I mean, just like anybody else, you'd say, hey, yeah, I support my significant other in this endeavor, and you support them. But then when it comes to nut cutting time, March 22nd, how's she going to feel about it?
Right.
So we're of the if we don't know, we're not going to know until we know.
And if you don't know, now you know.
Exactly. I mean, this sounds like a press conference from like the George W. Bush administration. If you don't know, you won't know until you know what we know. Because there are some people that know some things and other people that know they know nothing. And we really, I mean, we're speculating here.
Fool me once.
Is a little strong bad? You guys know? Am I the only one that remembers Strong Bad from Homestar Runner? It's old.
I don't even know what horror.
Oh my god, it's an old web cartoon.
We didn't have the World Wide Web until 5 years ago.
I'm sure you didn't. And it's all the internet in Canada is powered by a moose on a giant hamster wheel.
Yep.
It makes sense to me. I mean, I don't know much about Canada, but that makes perfect sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have on? Does anyone know what's going on for Smackdown later this evening? In 10
Isn't there
minutes?
a handicap match with Sami Zayn? No, that doesn't make sense.
3 matches. Let's see what these 3 matches advertised are.
No, that handicap match is for the title at the Rumble.
Yeah, that's at the Rumble.
Right.
Mojo Rawley versus Zack Ryder in a U.S. title tournament first round match. Could be good. Becky Lynch, Ruby Riott. Ascension versus the Bludgeon Brothers. That'll go about 30 to 90 seconds. And American Beta. I don't know. What do we call them? Benjamin Gable. I don't know if they have a cute nickname yet. And no. So it's they're just demanding justice following last. I don't know what demanding justice quite means, but they're demanding justice.
Are they in Pittsburgh tonight?
This one doesn't say. The post that I'm looking at.
I don't know where they are.
Because if they are, and I read this right, Serena Deeb has been spotted at the arena.
They've been talking about her, actually. There's been chatter online that they might be bringing her back or considering bringing her back.
I mean, she did well in the Mae Young Classic. She was in there.
Yeah, listen, I'm all for giving more women's wrestlers a shot, pulling some girls from the indies. If it works, it works. Doesn't, it doesn't. At least you try. Because there's a certain level of entertainer where you know that they have the skills or the experience to work in the WWE. And I mean, people get, what kind of dumb, there's Quang. I mean, what was it? Savio Vega was Quang. Make somebody fucking Quang. You never know who's going to come out of Quang. You can put somebody in a stupid gimmick and they can get over. Give them a shot. I think there's a lot of there are talented women on the current roster. There's a lot of women in the indies that deserve a fair shake. Deonna Purrazzo deserves better. I don't know why she's not signed with them after that Mae Young Classic. She did well in that, and she gets called in by everybody. She works Ring of Honor and Impact and NXT, and they don't seem to have problems sharing her as a talent like that. But I wish WWE would lock that shit down, because I think she's really good.
You could say the same for Tessa Blanchard too.
That's insanity. I don't know.
I don't get it.
You would think, with the way that they push Charlotte Flair, that having fucking Tully Blanchard's daughter in there would be such a selling point. And she could work with her. She could work against her. It could be, there's so much potential there.
Her stepdad is Magnum TA.
Yes.
And she's married to Ricochet, for Christ's sake, you know?
My favorite Irish wrestler.
Ricochet.
He's I think he's Black Irish, right? That's how that
works. You know what? If we're speaking of women, I'd like to see Eva Lise after what she did in Lucha Underground.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that. I think anyone from Lucha Underground,
except Sexy Star.
yes, except Sexy Star should be given a look.
Sexy Starbucks.
I mean, they would have to deflate Brian Cage, but I mean,
yeah. Oh my God.
he would fail the WWE wellness test by sight. They wouldn't even need to get to the P Cup. Doctor would just look at him, and go, "Yep." But the Lucha Underground, I think they're restarting that season 4. They did a year break or something stupid in between seasons, because they were unsure if they were getting renewed or not. But they've reworked it, and they're doing a new season. But they're in a change. They were at one point not allowing talent to break contract and go appear other places or get signed other places. It seems like the people that want to get out of their contract are now able to get out of their contract and go where they want to go. Hence Ricochet making his way to WWE. which is good on them. And I hope Lucha Underground still succeeds. Because I enjoyed watching that show. It's a different style than WWE. It's really like a telenovela. It is more soap opera, and then they have good wrestling matches in between it. But it's filmed kind of like a movie.
Yeah, I like that the way it's done.
And have we heard? And I'll bring this up very quickly because we're almost at the end of the show. There's another Lucha Libre company trying to come up called Aero Lucha. And you remember it was Aero something, the company that was trying to buy TNA last year. And it's run by Ron and Don Harris. Aero Lux.
Oh, the Nazi twins?
So that just brings all kinds of questions as to why two supposed white supremacists are starting a Lucha Libre company. I don't know. I don't know why. But I guess they've got Ray as one of their guys because their title belt basically is Ray's mask. The front plate of the belt is designed to look like Ray's mask. So I assume they have to do some kind of licensing or whatever with him to avoid a lawsuit. So whether it's he just kind of appears as a figurehead or actually wrestles for him is yet to be seen. But that's another company trying to come up. We'll see what happens with that. I don't think there's anything else. I'm trying to look at the SmackDown Live preview. I don't think there's anything else.
Oh, and listen, if you did send in a question, we will cover all questions next week. Keep sending them in. We just had no access to the questions this evening, but we will get to them next week. So.
Yes, definitely. So askthewarreport@gmail.com. And of course, with your submission, you will be entered into our Wrestle Rumble Pick'em contest. So the best, not necessarily the best question, but maybe the most interesting, the one that gets us talking the most. One of them that catches our eye. We pick one. And you win a free entry into the WrestleRumble.com pick'em. And this is a good one to win.
It's a real good one.
It's the Royal Rumble. So not only are there a bunch of different things that you can pick and elimination order and this and that and all kinds of outside kind of wagers you can, bet on wacky and weird things happening. The prizes are really good.
Yeah. Prizes are crazy. So first place, you get $1,000. Second place, you get $100 and the Winged Eagle Championship belt.
Wow.
Third place, you get $100 and an original piece of wrestling artwork from Nemo3 John, who, if you haven't check him out on Twitter. Fourth place, you get 3 illustrations of your choice from extracoolerart.com. Also really cool. He does these really neat, like, animated illustrations of wrestlers.
Oh, cool.
And then fifth place, you get a $20 gift card to heelsandfaces.com.
Heelsandfaces.com, huh?
Yeah.
What is heel? I'm not. This is news to me. I'm gonna have to check them out. Heels and
I actually haven't heard of Heels and Faces, and now I'm curious as to who they are.
It looks like it's apparel. It's
nice.
Like heels and face. Basically, it's black clothing with white lettering. Heels and faces.
Neat.
They're cool looking.
Mm-hmm.
And they're they must be Canadian because everything is listed as CAD.
Oh, I'm gonna have to get in contact with these people.
There you go. Heels and Faces, Phys Ed off the shoulder crew neck. $49.99 Canadian dollars, which is
like 10.
We get to just do we exchange like maple syrup? How do we? I don't understand the exchange rate between American and U.S. or U.S. and Canadian money. I don't know. You guys have weird. Your shit has birds on them. Loonies and toonies and all kinds of oonies.
And
it's all different multicolored Monopoly money.
We're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony.
Yeah, there you go. That's it's the official
little tiny toons.
Canadian Treasury Department theme song. So it is just about 8:00. We'll wrap up because SmackDown Live is about to start. And people have lives and dinners that need to be cooked and consumed. Say Amanda's been waiting for this for an hour. Or reheated in her case, yeah.
Yep. Reheated.
But yes, submit the questions to askthewarreport@gmail.com. You'll be entered into the Wrestle Rumble Pick'em contest. Good luck. I hope you win, whomever you are submitting your question, because you have a shot at $1,000. Why not? It's a free opportunity at $1,000, or some cash and a title belt, or some cash and some other neat little prizes. So there's all kinds of stuff available on Wrestle Rumble. And of course, sign up for tagmeadate.com if you haven't already. Tagmeadate.com is the first and only dating site exclusively for wrestling fans. You can find your tag team partner amongst our roster of superstars and divas, which you can search by location, favorite wrestler, favorite pay-per-view, all kinds of wrestling metrics that you can search by. And of course, you can search by zip code, which is important. And there are registrations all over the place, not just the United States. We have the UK, Canada. I don't know where else we have, because I don't look at all the registrations, but I know they're out there. So there's matches for you, Mr. Eskimo.
There's matches for you.
Machka. Yes, the Rusev Day special. Since it is Rusev Day, it's free to sign up. It's free to sign up every Rusev Day. So get that while you still can. And just give it a shot. Like I started the episode complaining about a dating site, and it's just a good opportunity to check out something different. The messaging works like Facebook Messenger, and you can send emojis and animations and GIFs and all that kind of stuff, or GIFs if you pronounce it GIFs. And
Tuesday moms choose GIF.
Yeah, exactly. So you can send them through Messenger. You can put a promo profile picture or a promo video, and I know some other sites do it, but we got there first. We were the first site where you could put up a promo video instead of a profile picture. So you still have the opportunity to do that. Put a little promo video up, show people what you're about, and sign up for Tag Me a Date. And of course, next week and every Tuesday, we are live 7 p.m. on Eastern Time, right here on YouTube. So go to youtube.com, type in Tag Me a Date in the search bar, all one word, Tag Me a Date, take out the spaces, and you will go to the Tag Me a Date channel, where you can like the videos, subscribe to our channel, hit the bell if you want a notification sent to your mobile device and or tablet. That bell thing is actually a kind of a neat function. It tells you if we go live or if we upload a new video. And otherwise, you can just remember to tune in on Tuesdays, 7 p.m. Eastern Time on the Tag Me Day YouTube channel. And of course, this is the War Report. So we'll see you next week on the War Report, bright and early, 7 p.m. on Eastern Time. And thank you for watching.